What is the difference between ADHD and autism, Ellie? Oh my god. I love my mum. Honestly, she's the best mum. I could not ask for a better mum. She put up with my neurodivergent dad and still does the last 45 years. And honestly, the woman's a bloody saint. She's put up with me and all my quirks. And honestly, I've been an arsehole my whole life. But honestly, when she asked me this conversation genuinely stayed with me. And I want to talk about it because I actually think it's something much bigger about how people still truly understand neurodivergence. So the other day, my mum asked me, what is actually the difference between ADHD and autism? She has got a neurodivergent child, a neurodivergent husband, so many neurodivergent grandchildren. And I just remember sitting there thinking, what the actual fuck? Not in a horrible way and not in an angry way. And I probably did say to her, knowing me, Mum, what the actual fuck? As I have done my whole life, because there's always one and it's normally Ellie. Because my mum is honestly one of the best mums I could have asked for. My mum is magnificent. She has been through so much with me. I've been the most difficult child. My dad has been the most difficult partner, and she's took it all in her stride. And at times I think it must have been a little too much for her, but she's dealt with it in a magnificent way because she's loved us through the emotional chaos of AuDHD, our sensory chaos, our hyperfixations, our overwhelms, our impulsivities, talking too much, crying too much, being too emotional. It was a shit show, honestly, but she's loved us. And she's also spent her whole adult life putting up with us. So when she asked me that question, it honestly made me realise how misunderstood all of this still is. Because in my brain, ADHD and autism are so interconnected in my life that I forgot other people don't see it that way. But at the same time, they're completely different things. It's like somebody asking, what's the difference between China and Australia? Like, it's a completely different freaking continent, bruv. In fact, I think that's what I said to her when she asked me. Like, they both exist on Earth, but they are extremely different places with different systems, experiences, needs, cultures, and ways of fucking functioning. And that moment genuinely hit me emotionally because I thought, if my family, who I'm pretty sure love me and support me, and I've lived alongside for years, and my mum's lived alongside my neurodivergent dad and put up with his shit. I love him more than anything. He's my absolute hero, but he's chaotic, man. If she's put up with all of that for years, then how could she still not fully understand what ADHD and autism actually are? And if my perfect family, they're not perfect, but they're perfect for me, don't know, then what about the families that aren't trying? What about the children being punished instead of understood? What about the kids growing up thinking they're difficult, dramatic, lazy, selfish, rude, over emotional, too sensitive and too much? Yes, that was me to a certain extent, but it could have been a lot worse. Because I genuinely think so many neurodivergent children are not being intentionally failed. I think it's a freaking mistake. I think it's an oversight. Because people just don't understand what they're looking at. They don't understand sensory overwhelm. They don't understand shutdowns. They don't understand emotional dysregulation, inexecutive function. The list goes on. Hyperactivity, masking. You know me, I love lists. Before I come on, I jot these lists down with what I'm going to talk about because I think they're so important. Because when I get off, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to say nervous system exhaustion, autistic burnout, rejection sensitivity, dopamine seeking, literal thinking, and communication differences. So our behaviours get misread constantly, and honestly I think that's why so many neurodivergent adults grow up carrying so much, as I always say, shame, because I've been ashamed of myself my whole entire life. Because nobody explains, yet your brain is different and they don't explain it to you properly. And if your parents can't explain it, then who the fuck can explain it? You build your whole entire identity around being too much and too difficult and too dramatic and all of this shit that I internalised. So instead of understanding your brain is simply processing the world differently, I internalised that my brain was a dickhead. And I think that conversation with my mum reminded me why I keep talking about all of this online. Not because I think I know everything, because bloody hell, I do not. I am a ficko. Not because I want labels for the sake of labels. I never, ever, ever wanted to pigeonhole anyone. My son could have gone to mainstream school or another school, and I always put them in mainstream because I didn't want them to be pigeonholed. It was probably the wrong thing to do, looking back on it now. But I don't like labels. I don't think labels are necessary always, but I do think that you need to know yourself authentically. But I know what it feels like to go through life misunderstood by yourself and by other people. And honestly, if conversations like this one help even one parent understand their child differently, or help one neurodivergent person stop hating themselves quite so much, I think it's worth talking about. And this is no slight on my mum, if you ever do listen to this, which I don't know if you will, you are the perfect mum, and dad, you've been the perfect dad. But it is just me explaining that if you guys are the perfect parents, what about that imperfect parents? What about them kids? They must be suffering more than I'm suffering, and shit, I've suffered a lot. Thanks guys for listening. All my love.